invite Ms. Karishma Mehta, SAS Woman of Mumbai, and Ms. Manisha Jain, Granting and Communication Chief of Prabhakatan Foundation, to join us for the release of the book.
आगे बुला रहा है फोटोग्राफर हाँ आगे आके खड़े रहेगा
I request Shabana ji to please come forward and
ऐसा बैठेगा तो चलेगा
a country called Childhood, a Memoir.
अरे डंडा आगे गया उसको अकल में लाइट मार दो हर तरफ उनको आगे गया तो नहीं मारा दिख ही नहीं रहा लाना ऑडियो लाना किधर गया लगाना लाना जाना अरे जाना
Before we begin, I'd like to request everyone to please turn your mobile phones either on a switched off mode or please turn it on silent.
Good evening. Pure art. I don't know when does it really happen. I heard that music doesn't need words and book needs only words. And when you see the title is A Country Called Childhood, when does really vocabulary happen? I think life happens first, then we word it. And as we grow with our experiences and understanding, we analyze our emotions and put them in human perspective. Shabana ji saw me with her and she said, दो abstract लोग साथ में बैठेंगे. Now, I love this because now I'm feeling comfortable. No, it's so important really that when you read something and so close to life and yet art. I just asked her that there are 8 lines written on the very first page. What is it? She said, I wanted to write something about the beginning, and the first thing happened to her was a poem. And then I remember a line said by Bukowski, the poet, that his one poem, the strength of a poem, is equivalent to the entire Hollywood industry. So now whether we go into the technical understanding of what did he mean, but it is the strength of or the expanse of poem which just opens layers beyond your words and beyond your comprehension. And that's where I feel is fascinating when I started reading this book. I told her, seldomly you really feel that you read something and you cry and you laugh. And really it evokes so quickly. And it's a matter of, say, half a page and you are amused, you are engaged. And there is no exaggeration what I'm saying. And that does not mean, normally we say as a simple reading, easy reading. That's not the point. Have you seen life? And that's what fascinates me, that at the age of 4, how could she just see life? I mean, I don't even remember when I was 4. I don't think I was ever 4. Yeah, I remember life from 40 maybe. It took me many years to understand what I have lived and put it across, maybe through plays, and to write engaging book. I'll just start with this first poem, which is like, happens to a first. 8 lines. Would you like to read? Because we really want her to say the first line, which will, it's an important line, we will say that. Yeah? No. What? Memory rushes back at times, pulls me by my finger, eggs me on and says, "Come, let's go." Inside those dark chambers where you stood in the light, rejoicing in a life yet to be unfolded. I just say 2 more lines because she's written the book in 5 sections. Well, the note about the book, she says it could have easily named as Stories from My Childhood and not a memoir. And what she means is her life is full of stories. And stories, I don't nurture them, they nurture me. That's what she said. So now to the prologue, and it's called The Dance of Songs. Over to Shabana ji.
The Dance of Songs. It's getting dark in the city of Amritsar. Shops are shutting down. Street lamps come on, casting dim yellow pools of light. Rickshaws and bicycles hustle to make their way home. A handcart loaded with gunny bags wobbles down the street. Even Dwarka's kite shop is winding up. The old Sardar tailor pulls his rickety shutter down, gets on his bicycle and pedals away. Shami's voice can be heard. She's urging her buffaloes home. Grubby little boys, the mochis, play outside in the gully, and behind the threshold of the phatak, the big iron gate, 2 little sisters, Bobby and Dolly, go about their lives. The scene seems like it's from hundreds of years ago, but it is actually dated back to the 1956. It's one of my earliest memories in which I am almost 4 years old. It's the street I remember the most, the street on which I lived. A little girl darts out of her house crying, "I want to go to my mama." "Come back," shouts my nanny from inside the big gate. "No, I want to go to my mama." "Your mama has gone to the cinema. You get in here at once." "I will also go to the cinema," she retorts, and runs down the street. Suddenly, something stirs in the air. There's a snuffled grunt in the sky, and the breeze changes. The sky turns red. Tin sheds begin to flap and rattle, the smell of wind on earth. It's a dust storm. Stray pieces of paper littering the ground outside the bookbinder's shop fly up and float in the air. Bicycles fall in a slow, studied motion along the wall of the cinema hall. The wooden shutter of Gyan Halwai shop tilts and slips out of its clamp. He stands with his arms outstretched, holding it with all his Malai lassi strength against the wind, his lungi threatening to fly out. A rickshaw puller pedals backwards and sideways. The world seems to slant at the edges. Dust storms the streets. My Sarpi's voice cuts through the mayhem. Stop, I say. Get back, girl. It's dark. The girl is not coming back. She runs all the way to the end of the street and suddenly finds herself in the middle of Katra Sher Singh Chowk, in front of Regent Talkies, surrounded by huge cinema posters. The posters begin to tear from the whiplash of the wind. Zrr, 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 zrr. Faces of actors and actresses fold up and slap against the dry whitewash of the decrepit cinema hall. Unable to keep her eyes open from the dust, wind and tears, the little girl hides her face in her sleeve. At her feet swirl particles of dust, torn scraps of paper, bright orange and pink trimmings from the tailor's shop, and gather momentum. She stands still for a while, watching the little merry-go-round around her dotted rubber booties until her eyes fall upon something. Across the street, the plotwala is doing a tandav. He is a skinny man who sells little leaflets with the plot and songs of Hindi films printed on them. A strong gust whisks away the sepia-colored leaflets from his hands and flings them into the wind. They soar in the air, going up and up in circles, dodging the poor man's attempts to retrieve them. Tossed into the wind, the yellowed sheets somersaults, now diving to his feet, now rising as if to sudden applause. He leaps and plunges by the side of the road, slapping his arms around, hurling himself as the musical notes. One leaf slips into two and two into four till the song dance about his gaunt, lanky frame. He dances with the songs, the poor plotwala, trying in vain to hang on to his only means of livelihood as it slips away into the grimy air. No one notices the little girl as she stands in the middle of the chalk, enthralled by the dance of songs. Her large eyes fill with tears, but she forgets to cry. There you are, Marjani. My Sardi steps forward, scoops me up in one sweeping movement, lodges me onto her hip, strides down the street, and puts me back inside the house where I belong. As we enter, my grandmother rises from her chair, pointing a finger at me. No little girls from good homes ever go out to the cinemas on the street. So graphic, the description.
So it's wonderful. Now, Deepti ji, you have already entered in today's evening. Now we would like to know that how did you, or maybe the story told to you, how did you, or what was that night? We always know about Krishna's night of birth. So what was that night? Please read it out to us. Stormy night, it is.
The night I was born. Hi everyone. Lovely to have you all here. Thanks. This is the night I was born. It was during the winter rains that I arrived. I was born on 3 February 1952 at the VJ Queen Victoria Jubilee Hospital located at one end of Company Bagh in Amritsar. It was a very disturbed, stormy night, recalls my mama. The night you were born, it rained incessantly. I was lying in a little corner room of the hospital with you, a tiny bundle next to me on the cot. The room was filled with water. It leaked everywhere. A cold wind blew in from the slit in the window. There was a furnace in the room, but no one was around to light the firewood. The long, sprawling corridors of the old Victorian red brick structure lay empty in the thrashing downpour. Dr. Santram Dhal, the doctor who delivered me, had wound up and left for the day. My Sarbi, whom managed the house and would later be my nanny, had dropped off the tiffin and returned home. So had my father, after his evening visit. The ward was dim and deserted. In the wee hours of the morning, while it was still dark, a sadhu Baba came knocking on my door, said Mama. But I was too weak to get up from my bed. If I did, I'd have to wade through the ice-cold, waterlogged room to get to the door. The sadhu kept knocking for a long time, begging, but I could not help him. Finally, he left, cursing. What was the curse, Mama? I would ask whenever she'd tell me this story. I don't remember, Beta, she would say. He cursed me, not you, my doll. The night I was born continues to fascinate me with all its dramatic elements, the freezing cold, the dimly lit corridors, the deserted ward, the deluge, the ominous sadhu and his curse. Thank you.
God, I don't know. Sometimes they say curse is a blessing. So maybe some kind of, because we have lots of gods and goddesses stories, where eventually the curse is working in your favor. In some other, your avatar on earth, maybe not this janam, the other janam. So I think it has worked for you. With growing, we always, when we grow up, we really don't know, like, what are the feelings which we get, We don't know. We maybe because we know something get hurt, we say we are hurt. It's pain, it's bleeding. But the inner hurt, we really don't know. What is it called? And is it your own hurt or it hurts? Happens because of we see somebody experiencing it. There's a fantastic, a small incident. She can call it a story. Please read, if you can, page number 4. The perfect childhood. We will discuss, but I just feel that before you read the book, you must know more about it since we are here. Otherwise, we always discuss, interview, questions, answers. We keep on doing all that. That you can Google it as well. So let's be here because book launch is supposed to be book launch. That's what I understand. I haven't written a book yet.
My first proper childhood memory has to do with a boy with a bowl. One evening, Mama, along with other women, had gone to a house in the neighborhood to distribute milk to needy children. I decided to tag along to do my first bit of social work. I was little then and clung to the pallu of my mother's sari as she went about her mission of mercy. The little boy with the dark complexion was even littler. Just as the ladies finished distributing milk and were about to climb down, he appeared at the bottom of the narrow staircase, a small bowl in his hand, looking up expectantly. Oh no, there's no milk left, bache. It's all finished. The boy just stood there looking up at us, his eyes large and luminous in his dark face, dressed only in a dirty banyan, the rest of his skinny body as naked as the day he was born. "Why have you come so late, my child?" Mama asked again, feeling sorry for the little one. My mother," he began breathlessly, panting from the effort of climbing the 3 steps to get inside the building. "My mother did not have a katori. She had to borrow it." His eyes shone with pale anticipation. "But the milk has just finished," Mama repeated, holding on to my hand. The small dark face grew darker. In that moment, at age 4, I experienced a hollow feeling in my stomach as I stood looking at this tiny human being who seemed not more than 2 years old. This image would remain with me for a long time to come. It was the first time I felt empathy for someone. I remember recognizing this as a new emotion. While feeling sorry for him, I was watching myself, watching the boy and feeling his pain. This perhaps was the first lesson in acting, taking a mental note of an experience and storing it away. In my later years, I would draw upon this emotion and use it in many ways. Sitting at a roadside cafe on 33rd Street in Lexington Avenue, he'd suddenly appear before me, the boy with the bowl. Sometimes I was looking at life from the top of the staircase, and at other times I was the little boy with the small dark face with large luminous eyes, standing at the bottom of the stairs with an empty bowl in my hand. Thank you.
All of us have some childhood memories where we really laugh, we are made fun of, and somebody makes fun of us. So there is this story, page number 10. 6. From the beginning.
Deepti is like from? Acha, from the beginning. Okay. From the beginning, I was taught to call my sister Didi, making her sound like she was much older, though the age difference between us is precisely a year and 10 months. Her real name is Smriti, which in Sanskrit means smile. She had the most beautiful smile on earth, and each time she smiled, her eyes lit up like lamps. I like to think I had a great smile too. The difference was that she was oblivious of it, while I knew exactly the effect I had on people, having practiced a variety of poses in front of the mirror in the hat stand. As a girl, Didi was God's good child. In our early childhood pictures, I see the difference between the two of us clearly. She is the all-smiling, trusting, innocent,